Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you just had, well, you had a follow-up. You had your second quantum hypnosis session. But your first one, you were one of my last test people, last training people. But that first session for you, that was really, really powerful. You
Yes.
got a lot of answers, and you were really accessible to get answers from. So this is Jason, and Jason meditates every day and really gets into meditation. So when you meditate a lot and daily, it's easier to go under hypnosis. It's very easy for you to go under. So you had some very specific questions, and you got your answers. Do you feel like you got your answers? I do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So how was that for you?
Well, I think that this follow-up session was in a lot of ways easier for me because I had a clear idea of what to expect, and I think more specifically uh, practice in how to just allow things to come through as I was feeling them or as I was experiencing them. I think it's kind of it's just it wasn't easy for me to do the first time, and so the
Mm-hmm.
second time it felt a lot
Yeah, the
a
first time
lot
you
more
were struggling,
comfortable.
and because the first time you saw a life where you were a spiritual leader for a tribe in the Mayan, well, where was it? It was Tulum.
Yeah,
It was Tulum, Mexico, and that was, yeah. I mean, well, but that was another language you were speaking
it
too.
was, and that was really challenging. Like I would feel words wanting to come through my body. I mean, I could feel them moving through my body, and I just didn't know how to make my mouth work to have it come out. So it would feel like things were literally getting stuck.
They were getting stuck, and you were
Um,
struggling with it, but that was a language that you don't know, and you were a
right.
very powerful shaman
In
in that life.
Yeah. So I think it was this session was easier to just um, keep things uh, tied to specific feeling states and what I was seeing, as opposed to try to remember the names of things or names of people in languages that I am not familiar with.
Right.
So
No, we saw, yeah, no, you saw good stuff. You got a lot of clarity. You were diving into some old family patterns
yeah,
and things like that, and you got a lot of clarity on the family patterns. You found out what really a lot of your life purpose is here. It would tell what your life purpose, what you're here to embody, even though you don't, I mean, your work is tech work, and you're not what we would consider, a classic light worker, like a hands-on healer, but you do hands-on healing, and that was confirmed in both of these sessions.
right. Um, so there's a real connection uh, to embodying compassion and expansion of heart chakra type of energy, and I'm it's easy for me to connect with that and to see a path forward with that, and how and people that I'm really close with in my
Yeah,
life,
yeah.
and
Because you
um,
connect easily with the people that you feel really, really intimate with.
yeah.
You have a close relationship with your daughter.
Hmm.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and so I think that what I've already experienced in my life recently is people are curious about what I'm doing. Like what like you seem really calm. Like what's going on with you? And so I'm finding that there are more opportunities just kind of organically arising for me to share with people,
Hmm.
and
And do you?
and I do,
That's good,
and
because you're meant to be compassionate with them. That's your purpose. It's to
right.
help them to heal themselves through just listening without judgment.
Exactly. and
Yeah.
and and so just being able to talk about forgiveness and love, it, it it's easy for me to talk about those things,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I feel like
Well, and people just want to be around you naturally. People are drawn to you. This is what I hear from light workers often, who are
yeah,
like, am I a light worker? Well, people just want to be around me. They want to tell me about their life. They want me to listen to them.
Yeah, I shared with you that there was a woman at work who just kind of out of the blue, like literally at the water cooler, was just kind of, we ended up, she's like, have you heard of Dolores Cannon? I'm like, actually I have. And the last thing I would have expected was for QHHT to come up at work.
Right.
And so that led to, having a lunch and kind of being able to share a little bit more about each other's journeys.
And
So
she'd had a session and you'd had a session.
yeah, right. And so I find that, that, like this session in particular, I felt like a release of some really, deep things. And
you did. We got down into the root and the sacral. And Archangel Michael is one of your main guides.
Yeah.
And Archangel Gabriel. And we went in and we found the stuff that it feels like was holding you back.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you got a lot of clarity.
I did. And yeah. And I'm looking forward to being able to move about the world in a little more, in a lighter way.
Well, and your confidence being so, I mean, you've seen now lives where you weren't having enough confidence, a life where you had confidence, another life where you haven't had confidence. I mean, the session before this one, your first one, was about you are a leader. You are a spiritual leader. And sometimes, and then you ascended at the end of that life because another tribe was coming in and taking over your tribe, and you couldn't do anything to help them. Right. And it was, okay, I've done all I can, which was have compassion, sometimes leaving.
Yeah.
Is that way. And also in this session, to forgive yourself and to have compassion for choosing the experience of the shadow, of choosing shadow experience. That's a key that I want to share in this interview. A lot of times we are judging ourselves and we're damning ourselves for coming in and having a human experience in the first place, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to experience contrast. We're here to experience shadow. We want to know what that's like, because then that shows us that the light is really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
To be even lighter. Yes, and then you're a musician. So again, your highest self said, just don't even create a technique for the music. Just play, just have fun. Just create the music and sing and play the music and just let it happen.
Yeah.
Whenever it feels good. Because that's part of your language.
Yes.
And that's also how you're going to bring compassion to everybody. Oh, a nice big orb just popped up over your head. A portal popped up. It was like a big confirmation. Yes. He's supposed to be creating more music. Yeah, which is easy for you. Just if you allow it to happen.
Yes.
And not think about it.
Right.
Just do it, Jason.
Right.
Just sing. Just pick up an instrument and play. It's all there for you. Yeah, that's really good. So you learned that you came here to learn compassion and to offer that, and empathy and to offer that. And you are a quantum jumper. Wasn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
That was a really cool component.
Yeah. Recently I've reconnected to my lucid dreaming practice. It's something that I used to do when I was younger.
Right. You had come to me for your first session saying you were a bit afraid.
Yeah.
Of the depth that you go into that.
Right. And I've had a few really, really wonderful experiences with it. And I think that this session provided just even more insight into some of those experiences now that I can view it through this quantum jumping lens. It makes more sense to me why the different narratives that I experienced in these different episodes are a little more clear to me.
That was clear. I was asking for the actual techniques. You go into different earths and different timelines, into the earths where there's a lot lower vibration.
Right.
And you help by singing songs.
Right.
And touching hearts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Helping, there was a piece of learning how to awaken myself each time I go.
Right, because you lose consciousness every time.
And then then once I awaken, then, you know, helping others to do the same thing.
Yeah, so you jump in your sleep, but you also jump during the day.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're aware of that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like, and not every time it's like sometimes I feel like my consciousness lands in a person, and then I operate and experience what's going on there, and then I go, and I've experienced that. I've experienced it where I am the person in that world, and then something else comes in,
Yeah.
and I experience things. So it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. I've experienced that as well. I'm also a
Yeah.
quantum jumper, and I'm conscious of it.
Yeah.
To sometimes I'm outside of myself, seeing myself, my fractal self, in another possibility that I didn't end up fulfilling before it kind of dissolves, because sometimes they dissolve. It's like, and I had one situation probably a couple decades ago. I'm like looking at a very depressed me sitting on a couch in an apartment complex with a wire on the wall with a little picture hanging from it, watching an old black and white television with rabbit ears.
Wow.
Yeah, and that Sonia's just sitting there so depressed. I'm like, Sonia. And she does this. She's looking up, and I said, oh my God, you're me. And she goes, who's there?
Mm.
I said, my name is Sonia. She goes, that's my name. And I said, I'm seeing another me. I said, where are you? She said, Philadelphia. I said, what are you doing there? She said, get me out. This is terrible. This is not the life I want to live.
Mm.
And I found out from my guides I ended up dissolving that life. There was a possibility for me to, through a boyfriend at the time, move to Philadelphia. And we had talked about it so much that we created another reality of it, but then it never went through.
Mm-hmm.
He broke up with me. So I ended up seeing the miserable me. Isn't that fascinating?
Yes, fascinating.
That fascinates the hell out of me. I just, the whole, you know, jumping through other dimensions. It's just, you know, that's endless conversation right there. Mm-hmm. It's so cool. I know, to be able to see yourself from the outside in, or see yourself in the body and know.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, I had a moment where I came into a being, and I was fully lucid, and I was able to hold the image of my hands very clearly. And then I went and looked in a mirror, which was really crazy, to see the image of myself in that dreaming world, and watch my face like flash and then morph a little bit.
Did it look similar to you? Do you look similar to you?
It looked similar, but
Wow.
but not quite. It was a distortion.
Isn't that fascinating?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's fascinating. I know. It's amazing. Well, good. I'm so glad that you got your answers from this. And it was a very powerful session. Yeah, as I said to you, I've had 16 out of all, I don't even know how many sessions I've done now, 16 that were just like, you're in that number. That was, your first session was just like, whoa, he's speaking another language. This is fascinating. He doesn't know what that language is, and I don't either. Let's get more out of this.
Yeah, no, it's a strange and powerful thing to really feel something move through me, you know, and that's how I felt in both of these sessions, is at these different points, like something really like moving through me.
So you realize you're not your body.
Mm-hmm.
You use your body. So do you recommend this to others?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's life-changing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You get such clarity. And you realize that you have all the answers within you.
Yes. It's all there.
It's all there. Yeah. Well, good. So if you would like to have a quantum hypnosis session with me, go to my website. It's in the description box below, SoniaWilderWellness.com. And when it's your time, it'll come up and we'll get you scheduled. Thank you. Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was really good. Very powerful. Wonderful. Fabulous. Thank you.